I had a chance to drive a Tesla from Houston to San Antonio last week. It was smooth. I wouldn't mind having one. But the problem, we had to stop 2 times to charge it. If you don't have any charges put on you, what do you do? No, but it's still a challenge that's bringing opportunity, right? I'm not against EVs. I'm not against, neither am I against fossil fuel driven cars. Just like Daniel said, good to see you, Daniel. Just like Daniel said, we do have the understanding that the oil and gas industry is going to still play a very big critical role. You cannot switch from oil and gas, that's a base fuel for global electrification of almost 70% to renewables at a goal. It will not happen. The renewables are going to set in, they're going to buffer in slowly to take the load off. We hope and we want it because of the climate issues that Madam here has spoken about. When I hear the climate activists speak, it's like the world is on fire. These are Kosovo case that you brought. It's not climate change. It's technical. Let's not go there. Because if I start now, you ask me to get out from this room. But I'm very happy to talk to people of your caliber. We are the future, whether you like it or not. I'm part of it because I'm still young. Forget about the gray hair. Daniel and I, we are the future of the oil and gas industry. Guys, Celestina is here. But I want to put out three fallacies that's happening in this world. The first one I'll pick on is this. Imagine, sorry to say this, imagine you go to the gay club, right? And they have male and female washroom. It's not stupidity. But it's the word that we've made to believe it. So you go to a gay club, they have female and male. Why not one washroom? Let's all go and enjoy ourselves. The second one is COVID. COVID came, and at the airport, they will tell you 1 kilometer or 1 meter, yeah? We are like the kilometer 1 kilometer distance. So only one person can pick a lift at a time. But what happens when you go to the plane? 3 of you sit together. You take off your mask and you eat together. It's not stupidity. I'm getting there. And the third one is energy transition. I'm going to light on that. Let's look at what is happening in South Africa now. I was there last 2 weeks. Low shedding. I was in my apartment. They tell me, hey, Riverson, your light to go off, so please charge your phone. Charge which phone? South Africa. China ran on coal for how many years? Coal was 90% of their base load. Where was this coal coming from? Africa. Nigeria, you are disappointed the whole Africa. 85% of Nigerian resources goes out to the West to feed their energy demand. When Nigeria is having 45% accessibility to electricity. Yes. So if today they are telling you to stop producing crude oil, why are you crying? How does it benefit you? So for me, the cry of Africa, I don't understand the sustainability part of it, like my brother here mentioned. We don't benefit from the crude oil we produce. So let's stop, because they are the ones who benefit. They say we should stop. Then let's stop. Because at the end of the day, the 45% that you have will still be there. It took Nigeria 45 years to flare gas, to understand that gas commercialization is important. Ghana discovered gas from day one. He said no flaring policy, and then we're not exporting any molecule of gas out of this country. But we're going to use every single gas here. That's why the company I work for has given me opportunity to work. Otherwise, I'll probably back in Europe. I wouldn't be here. So, 3 things I will say again here. I've given the fallacies. Now, let's look at the scenarios of the energy supply. The first one is demand. We have a demand for energy to keep at this current population that we are not meeting in Africa. You mentioned 2050, 50 years' time, right? In 2050, the world's population is going to grow by almost 2 billion. How are you going to meet that demand? The current demand you're not even meeting. How much more the future? Now, affluency in economy. If I ask you, how many cars do you all have? Leslie, I know your car. You have about 5 cars. Dan, you have about 3 cars. My father had only 1 car. That car, we saw it only on Sundays, Daniel. When you go to church, we wake up at 6:30. We have to go and wash daddy's car. All the 7 kids he had, we put our life on that car. Because we saw it once a week. We wash the car. Pep, 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 pep. We go to church. We come back and we park the car in the garage. My dad will ride his bicycle to work. Today, I alone have 3 cars. I can afford it. So that is demanding for energy, right? Now, the second lever is the supply security, which we don't have today. Europe was hit big time. Rent in Europe has increased about 5 times, not because of the facility, but because of the electricity. When gas cut from Russia affected them in Europe, about 1,000% was the incremental revenue, charge for electricity in Europe. So you pay for a hotel $50 2 years before, today is $500. Now, as I'm talking, yes. South Africa is one of them. And the third lever is my madam here, environmental issues. So these 3 levers are actually bringing and causing a very huge disturbance in the energy sector today. But again, we are here because we talk about energy sustainability. Energy sustainability, I don't agree with what the SDG goal is saying. No. Because you can't add sustainability as a word into the trilemma when we are addressing the trilemma. Because if you talk about, the 3 levers in the SDG goal 7, they need to take that sustainability out and bring availability, accessibility, and affordability really, really described, because that's what Africa we need. Because in Ghana here, we have about almost 85% accessibility to electricity. But we have seen the incremental charges in the tariffs in electricity for the past 1 year. It's been going up 50%, 25%, 50%, 35%. What's causing that? Have you asked yourself? Now, we are young people. Everybody here, including me, I repeat it. The level of understanding should change. And I believe this is a problem. I love solutions. Your choco thing. In fact, I want to buy some for my barbecue. We will not stop. If you give me one to ride, I'll ride it. I love it. Oil and gas, we still need it. So all the 3, you see, they are all coming from 3 different angles. But to become an entrepreneur in this particular world that we live in, it's not easy. It's not easy. And probably I'll give chance when I'm giving a closing remark. I have some few points I'll put there. But it is not easy. Let me say this example. Last week, I just gave a very stupid answer in Houston to a professor. And the professor was so happy. He said, wow, that's intelligent. I said, If it was in Ghana, I would have been slapped and walked out of that particular meeting. But what I realized is that, unlike Daniel and most of you, I have had a chance to study abroad, and every particular comment is accepted. Yeah. Not in Ghana. You can give the smartest, we kill dreams in this particular continent. We kill dreams. Instead of accepting, make the child think outside the box. So once the child did not say what you wanted him to say, he's stupid. So he goes home thinking he's stupid. Am I really stupid? No, you're not stupid, man. You're very innovative. That one was very intentional, Doc. I said that answer very, very intentionally. But the professors saw a solution from that. That's how they think. We are meant to think like robots. 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. 2 plus 1 was not discussed. I'll talk again.
Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, everybody. It's good to be here again. I was here last year. Last year was my first time here. So, my name is Tolu Kweku Lakwa. I'm the Executive Director of UN Global Compact Ghana. And we're the world's largest corporate-led sustainability initiative.
Riverson.
While I cannot agree with my brother across the room, I said, while I cannot agree with you, I can heavily empathize with a lot of what he's saying. I can empathize because in some instances he's right. We have immediate energy needs we cannot ignore. And even with the energy sources that we're tapping in right now, we are still suffering. I think Gridco put out a notice that they had lost some sources of gas. And because of that, residents should be expecting some drop in energy. And I used to think to myself, why is it that our populations are not so high, and yet we are always running out of energy? New York was there for the UN General Assembly week. And it's one of the largest cities in the US, and they never run out of electricity. The water always flows, electricity always flows, and you just ask yourself, how, why? And they too also, in the US, they run on coal. Most of it is coal, some of it's nuclear, some of it's solar, and so forth. But they still want to transition. They still want to have a just transition, but they're struggling to do so. And of course, as Madame mentioned over here, Africa is one of the least producers of emissions. And somehow, we're still alive, we're still using some electricity, we're still using some energy sources, but yet we're the least producers. But the reason why I say that the transition is still possible is because the 4% that we're emitting means that Africa has a huge opportunity. Yesterday, I was a keynote speaker for Development Bank Ghana's climate finance webinar. And we had on there people from South Africa, from African Development Bank, from all over, big science people, finance people. The key thing that I identified, and I was talking to them, is the financing. The financing is very important. Here we're talking about great entrepreneurs, great leaders in the space are in need of financing. And what we are saying to the finance community is that we need sustainable finance. We need to put together a portfolio that will help us get to that transition. We need to mobilize funds. There's lots of funds out there. I think for the world, the global, or at least for Africa, the African Development Bank says we need $30 to $60 billion a year just to finance a just transition. Where's that money going to come from? It's going to come from the private sector. But on top of that, we need the engineers to be innovative to provide the solutions that we can now finance. I said me, no. The financial sector needs to finance. And that's why events like this are so important. And entrepreneurs like these are so important because of what they're doing. And there was something that I thought was very interesting that was said earlier, which was, someone said that the problem with Africa as Africans, that we do not believe in ourselves, and that we're very quick to give up on ideas, on processes that are developed here on the continent. And I think that that's actually the foundation of the problem right there. Because believe it or not, the problems that we have today, someone somewhere in the world is going to solve it. Even if we look at renewable energies, just wait and see. Someone is going to solve the problem. Whatever problem we have around it, someone will solve it. And why do I say that? Because that has always happened. That has been the history of mankind. If you look at the history of technology, of development, going back from the Stone Age up into the modern age, there are always problems and somebody solved it. So when I look at the energy transition area, and I see the fact that in Africa, we have the youngest population in the world, which means that we have the most dynamic population in the world. We have the most intelligent population in the world. I know that we have the capability of innovating and coming up with these solutions. When it comes to investment, believe it or not, there is a huge movement in the world right now looking to invest in Africa. Why? Because they see that Africa is the future. They see all the metrics. They see that it's there. In New York, we hosted the Global Africa Business Initiative. It's a program that was run by, that is operated by the UN, but it was hosted by the UN Global Compact. And come and see the type of people that showed up at this event. Yes, you had your African presidents who were there, but what I found very interesting was that you had the top people from Google, from Microsoft, the NBA, from all over, all the sectors out there coming to talk about what they had to offer Africa, not the other way around. The African presidents and the African politicians were there to say, what value can you give to us? It was very, very phenomenal. That this is where the world is going. There were lots of Pan-African financial institutions abroad that are coming to us and saying, we are looking to invest in African companies that are transitioning, that are paying attention to gender, that are taking these issues seriously on energy, climate. People are looking to put their money here because we do not have we don't have some of the major problems that the global north has. So it's an opportunity for us. So the opportunities are there, the future is there, but we have to believe that we are capable of going after it. And then on the other note, there's another issue that was brought up, regulation. I so agree with that. The regulation is killing us. And sometimes I ask myself, is it because, the one who was in parliament or the one who's in the presidential office was in Legon in 1950 something years old and he thinks that the world is still the same? I ask myself that question sometimes. Sometimes I ask myself, or is it the fact that we are not doing our advocacy properly? We're not communicating to the politicians so they understand our issues better. Maybe it's a combination of both. But wherever the battle is, we have to believe that we have the capability to addressing it, pursuing it, and going after it. The climate transition, it sounds impossible. And yet, when I was in New York, I was stunned. I was there in March earlier, and then just coming for the UN General Assembly Week. Almost the whole city, I couldn't find a single plastic bag to use. People are already starting to transition. And even the reusable bag you buy, if you buy a new bag, they actually charge you an extra tax on that bag because they want you to reuse that bag. Everywhere else, if they didn't have that bag, it was a paper bag. I was stunned. You couldn't. The only place I found a plastic bag was that small Chinese store on 140-something street. They were the only ones who were using the plastic bag. But the transition is coming. People are latching onto it. And in Africa, it's, I think, only Rwanda where they've completely banned plastics. So it's just about us helping each other. The engineers are the ones who are going to innovate for us. Me, I was interested in engineering until I saw the mathematics involved, and I don't have the talent for it. But I know how to talk, so that's where I'm giving my energy. And so I'm using my voice to lend support to those who go into this field. So for the young people who are looking at the energy sector or looking at engineering and so forth, there is definitely a future for you. It's not just that there's a future for you, we badly need you. Our hope lies on the work that you'll be doing for us. So definitely, just as like he was saying, know what you want, have the fighting mentality, build a career plan, understand the world that we live in. These are the problems. And we need you to come and bring the innovative solutions there. And then we will, as the elders, guide and mentor you towards the right paths to go to. But even for those of us who will be phasing out when it's your turn to be the adults, you'll be solving the problems of the next generation, and the next generation will be depending on you. So thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.